Hello everybody, Brad Johnson here, and I got another exciting video for everybody. In this video, we're going to be talking about the fourth density body. So of course, through many of my past videos, I've talked a lot about the fourth density. Adronis has as well too. And there's been a little bit of extra information that Adronis has shared when I was actually doing an online event for Japan. Just recently, Adronis was able to come through and share some really great information relating to the fourth density body. Now, of course, as I've talked about in other videos, from Spirit's perspective, 2037 represents the end of the current era, or the end of an age. So throughout these many thousands of years, the idea of the current era will end around the end of 2037. And where I've talked about the idea of the 3 days of darkness, and of course, the fourth density, which I'll just call 4D, harvest. Okay, so 4D, 5D, 5-dimension, 5th dimension, 4th density harvest will happen around that time. So we have a lot to look forward to when we get into the point of experiencing around the end of 2037. Now again, there are people, there may be people who are doing psychic premonition or channeling or hypnosis or anything like that. And I've gotten people, emailing me and saying, oh, Brad, well, this person says this. This person says that the 3 days of darkness won't happen and that it might happen sooner, or it may happen like in 2026 or 2027. All right, well, I respect other people's perspective. But again, here's the thing. This is not my perspective, as I've talked about, okay? When I talk about 2037 and 2038, sorry, it should be an 8, there we go. 2038, this isn't my perspective. This is not my own ego going out there and say, oh, by the way, I think, it's going to be 2037, 2038. Not my perspective, okay? This is Spirit's perspective, okay? When I say Spirit, basically talking about the Creator, basically talking about the highest there is, the Most High. 2037, 2038 is the time of an old age coming to an end and a new age beginning. All right, so the start of a new age starts in 2038. Okay, now this is backed up by several different researchers who I've talked about, that they have basically thoroughly studied a lot of the Edgar Cayce readings. And of course, for those of you unfamiliar with Edgar Cayce, he's probably the most profound, prolific psychic of the 20th century, maybe even further than that. Basically, they would do Edgar Cayce studies, and they would also start working with the Great Pyramid of Giza. And they would do what's known as they would look at the pyramid, and they would calculate by what's known as the pyramid inch. And they would actually measure the geometry of the Great Pyramid of Giza, of the King's Chamber, and they would actually be able to create a timeline through the pyramid inch that they measured. And they were able, through this measurement of the pyramid inch, through the Great Pyramid of Giza, to accurately give specific dates to when Jesus was born, the First World War, the Second World War, etc. It was able to look at the fall and rise of empires and so forth, all based upon the pyramid inch. And just after I did the sharing with Spirit's perspective relating to 2037 and 2038, then I was brought attention to a video that was actually done by a fellow named John Van Alken. Okay, and he is a very well-respected researcher. He's been researching the pyramids. He's a very, very prolific researcher himself. And then somebody sent me this video and said, hey, what you just said, Brad, about 2037 would completely correlate together with what he's been saying relating to 2038. So basically, if we have the king's chamber right here, they measured the entirety of the king's chamber right up to the apex, and they were able to discover that there is an ending pertaining to the timeline here that I was talking about. And the ending of that timeline is 2038. Okay? It fits precisely with what has been shared here. As I said, when you look at this pyramid timeline, the Great Pyramid of Giza, it is the most accurate depiction of our timeline. Again, it is nailed, it is hit accurately. All of these specific dates relating to the birth of Jesus, to the fall and rise of empires, to the First World War, to the Second World War, and now it's stating that the researchers, at the end of this timeline, it will be the year 2038, which means it will be an end to all forms of prophecies. It will be an end to all forms of predictions relating to the current age. Okay, so this is not just from Spirit. There are researchers, very respected researchers, who have spent many years investigating the pyramids, looking into all of this ancient research, looking into deciphering much of the codes of the pyramids. And they have all really come to an agreement that 2038 will be the start of a new age. Okay, it'll be a whole great new era that's going to happen. So they admit something really, really, really big is going to happen before that time. And again, from what Spirit has told me relating to 2037, that's the big thing, right? 3 days of darkness. So even regarding the 3 days of darkness, people can look into the Native American traditions. You can look into the Mayan traditions as well too. Those societies have experienced the 3 days of darkness. Okay. Now, sometimes it can be possible that this can actually be shortened. This can be shortened down to 1 day of darkness or 2 days of darkness, etc. But like I said, all the people that are remaining on the earth and who are experiencing the 3 days of darkness are going to be those people who are not here. They're not in their heart space, right? They're at the solar plexus level. So those are the ones that are going to be staying behind. Everybody else who has love in their hearts, who brings love and joy and compassion to others, working upon themselves, improving themselves, they're not going to be here. They're going to go here. So everybody that has that heart-centered mentality is going to go to fourth density earth. This even goes back into biblical Proverbs, right? To where Jesus himself said, is that the wicked will be separated from the righteous. Or we could even look at it as the meek, right? Wicked will be separated from the righteous. And of course, as it says in biblical proverb, where they will be thrown into the fiery furnace, where there will be much weeping and gnashing of teeth. Right? So take that for whatever it is that you account. But I look into all these different prophecies. I look into Proverbs in this. And so this is really what's happening. Jesus was, in his own way, talking about the idea of a splitting of worlds. He was talking about the idea, the wicked, as it were, the wicked, would be on one particular earth, the righteous would be on another particular earth, right? So even back over 2,000 years ago, he was talking about the splitting of worlds, okay? That basically those who are righteous will come into the kingdom of their Father, will enter a new world. The meek will inherit this new earth. So that is pretty much what is being said here, if you look at it in its own particular unique context. So I just wanted to kind of clear this up firstly, before I get into the fourth density body. Okay, because I do have a lot of people ask me questions about 2037 and saying, Brad, what if this changes? What if this changes? Certainly, there's always a very light possibility of it changing. I would say maybe about 1 to 1.5%. It's just like if we were to look at tomorrow, right? There's always a 1 to 1.5% chance that we may not wake up tomorrow, that the earth may not be here tomorrow. Sure, there's always a 1 to 1.5% chance, but it's about the same type of percentage relating to the 3 days of darkness. As I said, people that are doing their inner work, people that are heart-focused, heart-centered, that are able to work upon opening themselves up working upon themselves, helping other people, being compassionate. You guys have nothing to worry about. You'll be here. You'll be on that earth, okay? So as I said, this is Spirit's perspective. This is not mine, okay? I want to make that very, very clear to all of you. Because again, I get people that want to say, well, you know, it's not happening this time. It's going to happen in 2022 or 2023 or something like that. I mean, that was my original thinking. My original thinking was, yeah, probably around the mid-2020s, we'll probably experience something like this. But that's not the case, because this is not my perspective. This is Spirit's, okay? So, enough about that. We're going to move on now to the fourth density body. So, as it relates to 2037 and the times before that year hits, or again, perhaps around the same time of the year, there will be people who will be transitioning. So they will go through a transitional phase. As I've talked about in a previous video, some will feel like they have actually vanished off this planet. Okay? I don't know about the percentages. I have no idea about what the percentages would be for people who just vanished, or the people in that sense that transition themselves into fourth density. That information is not currently available. Okay? So by vanishing, people will be here 1 second, and all of a sudden, poof, they'll be off the planet. They'll be going directly into fourth density Earth, okay? So this transition phase comes in 3 different possibilities, okay? So the first is vanishing. The second, again, is natural transition. Okay, what that means is that you will basically leave the physical body behind. You'll leave your third density body here, okay? So the 3D body, as I'll call it, will stay in the third density Earth. People find your body, they assume that you have died, okay? That's what will happen, right? People may find themselves, the third density body perished in bed. But what's happening instead is the third density body is moving up into fourth density. Or sorry, the third density body is being left behind, and your spirit is moving into a 4D body. So you will come into a brand new body that'll look very similar to the one that you have right now. It'll look almost identical. What Adronis has said relating to this body is that it will be much more richer in silica. Okay? It'll have a higher silica content than the idea of carbon-based. Right? It'll still have carbon, but there will be richer amounts of silica within the body. And as we start to do research for those that move into fourth density, you'll be able to notice this, that there'll be a greater increase as it relates to silica content within the body. So it's almost like we are becoming a much more crystalline in that way. But again, this is what's happening, is that people will just naturally transition out of their body, and they will instantly, and I mean instantly, not a few seconds delay, right? Instantly wake up in another body. They actually had no clue that their other body has perished in the third density Earth, okay? That's really what is going to be happening here, relating to the soul leaving the third density body and coming into the fourth density body, right? It's like Adronis has shared, that it's like a snake shedding its skin. The old skin here is being discarded, and now the new snake can slither and enjoy its new surroundings in a brand new body, and will leave the old skin behind, right? You can also look at it as a caterpillar becoming the butterfly, right? Leaves everything in the cocoon and then flies out as a butterfly. That's another appropriate analogy as well too. So there is the natural transition phase as well too. The vanishing phase, the natural transition phase, and of course we have the third possibility, which is ET intervention. Okay. Again, we do not know the percentages about how much of these or how less of these, how it's going to happen altogether. But I am being told that there may be some extraterrestrial spacecraft that will actually be coming down and picking some people up, either taking them off Earth or transporting them to another particular dimension. Again, it all depends upon the person. It all depends on the relationships. It bases itself completely on the causes and conditions of one's own soul contract. Some people will be taken off the earth at that time. So, I have a little flying saucer here, coming and picking people up, and taking them off the earth. Again, they may be brought to fourth density earth. They may be taken off the planet and go somewhere else. We don't know, right? Again, a lot of that information is not available at this time. But these are the three particular transitional phases that will take place, either vanishing, either natural transition, or ET intervention. Okay, that's what's going to be happening around this time. So again, it could be happening maybe a year before, maybe a few months before, a couple months before, a couple weeks before. We don't know, right? I do not know. Spirit has not given me that information, neither has Adronis. But he basically says shortly before this time, these things will happen. Okay, a person could basically transition out of their body or vanish from third density Earth, perhaps several months before this event takes place. There will be a lot of awareness as it pertains to the possibility of this happening as we get closer to this year. But again, we're 18 years away, right? So there's a lot of time for us to do a lot of preparation work. I think it's really great of Spirit sharing this with me and saying, hey, you guys got 18 years, right? You got 18 years to really get yourself together, to start working together as a compassionate civilization and working upon yourself and helping out others. That's the important thing here that we are learning. So I'm just going to clear the board now. And again, a lot of people feel afraid relating to the idea of this 3 days of darkness. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has happened before. This has happened many times in the past. Okay, you can ask the Native Americans about that. You can ask the Mayans about that. You can ask these indigenous cultures about that, about this happening in the past. They will tell you, oh yeah, it happened. Here's what I'm getting, is that it will not be as intense as the previous times that it has happened, because there's so much intervention happening upon the planet. There's never been so much intervention happening now on the planet than it was happening back then. Back then, there was very little intervention at all. And some of the Mayans, the Native Americans, have had to go through rough pole shifts during that time. Are we basically seeing a slight pole shift taking place during this time? Yes, absolutely. Magnetic pole shift, and again, there are two polar vessels that are at the northern and southern hemispheres of the planet. And they are basically adjusting appropriately the slight tilt of the planet that will take place as this 3 days of darkness happens. So there will be very little loss of life pertaining to this pole shift that needs to take place. But again, it's a Stargate effect, as I've talked about before. It is both natural and artificial, right? So something is going to be happening with the magnetic fields of the Earth. Again, shifting of the magnetic fields and a slight tilt of the Earth's axis, and it's basically going to be like a blackout period, right? That again, between 1 to 3 days. Spirit is very adamant in saying it's 3 days of darkness, right? Because the ones that are here that will be left behind are the ones that are just basically going to panic. And like I said, when you go outside, it's almost like you're going into a state of hallucination, right? You'll start to hallucinate. You'll start to feel that the person who has great fear will basically bring their own inner demons to life, right? It's a very, very terrifying experience for a person that is completely drenched in fear, right? It does not matter if you're hiding deeply inside the earth, okay? So again, what a lot of these elitists think they can do. Oh, we'll just hide inside the earth and we'll be safe. No, you won't. This is going to be completely cleansing out the earth from the inside out. You cannot run from this. So again, for those that think that they can go into military bases, underground installations, and thinking that they're going to be safe, nope. Doesn't matter. As long as you're on the earth, you're going to experience this, right? So it will basically be the end of the elitists altogether. They will all be gone after this. They will all basically transition back into spirit after that time. And like I said, ones with loving hearts, ones that again have that pure love within themselves, will go to the other earth. Those again who are very much into negativity, who are just all about using people, manipulating people in that particular way, who have nothing but sinister deeds within their souls, they stay exactly where they are. So like I said, when I really look at this, people who are very heart-centered, that's a lot of the population, guys, right? It's not a very little amount. That's a lot, right? There's a lot of us that are going to go here, okay? The people I've talked to, the thousands and thousands and thousands of people I've talked to over the past near 11 years now, wonderful people, even when they have challenges in their heart. I can basically tell you that I'd say about 95 to 98% of the people I've talked to, the thousands of people I've talked to, will definitely go to 4D, right? Will definitely go to fourth density Earth because they're thinking about these things. Yes, they have challenges. Yes, they have emotional woes, like we all do. But you are very much in the alignment to go, right? Pretty much everybody that's watching my channel right now, who's listening to this and understands what I'm sharing, you guys are good to go as well too, right? Now, of course, Spirit makes the ultimate decision about that, but really what Spirit looks for is this, is the heart-centeredness. People who want to open up their heart and help a person, right? And bring love. And it is about honesty. It is about trust. It is about truth, okay? You want to make sure that, you know, what you're doing here when you're moving up into fourth density Earth is that you're not a compulsive liar, right? You're not lying about everything, because here's the thing. Now, as we get into the fourth density body, and Adronis has talked about this. Sorry, it's taken a little bit of segue to get to the big topic here. But as we get into the fourth density body, everybody will know what you're thinking. Everybody will know what you're feeling. You can't hide it. So as I said, there's a higher silica content within the fourth density body. But again, people will be able to read your energy field. They will just tap into you, and it's very, very natural, right? So you could say that the inner senses, we could even look at it as psi senses, will basically be amplified 100 times greater than they are right now. Okay, that's incredible. That's like looking at the most gifted psychic on the planet right now, and even jumping up a little bit higher than they are, relating to the inner senses. So your psychic sense is going to be immensely heightened, right? You're going to have an incredible boost relating to psychic senses, to inner senses. Basically, everybody on the planet is going to be like top-rated psychics. That's really what's going to happen, because that's what your physical body will entail. It has such more of a higher silica content. Like when we look at a lot of the new children that are coming on the planet right now, they are incredibly psychic. They're powerfully intuitive. They have great, strong, powerful inner perception. That's nothing compared to what you're going to experience in fourth density. So if you took your highest psychic, your most skilled psychic, brilliant clairvoyance, brilliant clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance, etc., it still won't compare to what you have here in the fourth density, okay? Now, why do you think you have to be an honest person? Because people will see through your lies, okay? When we're going into a fourth density Earth, we're going into an Earth that we once inhabited a long time ago, okay? That was originally in the fourth density, or again, you could say fifth dimension, fourth density. And we could basically refer to that Earth as Eden, right? The Garden of Eden. We once inherited an Earth like that. But again, because we blew it, we descended down into a lower Earth, right? Of course, people will say, oh, Brad, we didn't blow it. It's just because this happened and that happened. Whatever it is you want to call it, that's fine. Basically, what happened is we went into a state of descension, okay? Even though we may have been set up or whatever happened in that particular way, nonetheless, we went down into the lower density, into the third density Earth. So we are making our way back up to the representation of that fourth density Earth. So it's like I've talked about with simulcarnation or simultaneous incarnation, right? Is that we're always occupying different Earths, different themes of Earths, every time we incarnate again and again and again and again, right? So we're always having some particular different Earth. Like I said, it could be 0.00000000000000000000001% different. But it's still different. And of course, we have those clusters of Earths that come together to form a prime Earth. Okay? And that's primarily what we're experiencing right now. We are on a prime Earth. We have collapsed a lot of timelines and brought it together here. But with the fourth density body, will people still eat? Will they still have food? The answer is yes. Will they still drink? The answer is yes. Will they still have some form of a physical body? From what we could understand in the third density of our physical body right now, the answer is yes. You will have a physical body. You will be able to work out with your body. You'll be able to exercise it, all of that, right? But again, what we're experiencing is a different stream relating to timelines, okay? So this is why it's not so much like this anymore, a linear time progression. It's more like this. So it's basically we're going sideways in time, which means that we're going to be able to access different dimensions. We're going to become much more vivid of dimensionality. It's kind of like how you would experience dreams at night, right? For a person who has very vivid dreams, they could almost like touch their body, feels very, very solid, and they are experiencing sequences, okay? Because many of us have a lot of different dreams each and every single night, but you're experiencing sequences of reality. It's not that everything is so linear based anymore, a beginning, a middle, and an end, right? So there will be premonitions that'll very much be a part of your reality, where you can look into tomorrow, you can look into yesterday, you can look into last week, you can look into a probability of next week. All of these different premonitions, probabilities of sensing. Again, because our inner senses are so strong, we're able to tap into these different premonition-based realities, and we can actually step into them, right? You can actually step right in to that premonition reality that you have, and it becomes your reality, right? That's what's so wild about this. That's why it's so exciting. We're going to have a lot of fun in fourth density Earth. But again, there is such a sanitized amount of people that are going to be here on fourth density Earth. Now, some people asked Adronis, you know, is everybody going to be vegetarian on fourth density Earth? Adronis says, everybody? No. But most of the population certainly will be vegetarian, vegan based. And of course, Adronis has always encouraged the idea of vegetarianism, of veganism to happen with other people. But no, there may still be some people that will decide to hunt. There will still be some people that will decide to fish, right? And they can do that without any harm. But they are, again, looking at the idea of respecting the soul that occupy the body of another, right? So that will still continue. But like I said, it will be in a very, very small percentage of the planet of the fourth density. So most likely, 90 or higher percentage of the planet will be much more vegetarian-based, vegan-based. Some people won't actually even eat food. Some people can actually start to sustain themselves with the natural energy, with chi, with life force. We can actually do that. Adronis says that the nature upon the planet will be much more fragrant. There will be a lot more pure nature. There will be no pollution happening on the planet whatsoever. We're not looking at heavy pollutants, heavy toxins, chemicals, none of that. The water will be pure. The air will be pure. The ground will be pure. And anybody that looks to hurt nature in that particular way simply won't be there, right? They will not be on the fourth density Earth where they are hurting nature in any particular way, where they're hurting others in any particular way. It's a very sanitized planet, right? This is why we say we have a lot of work to do, right? Because the very compassionate people, very heart-centered people are going to exist on this Earth. And if you are not here, you stay where you are. Simple as that. Okay? This is not, again, some particular type of contest. This is not some particular type of punishment, pitching a lightning bolt at yourself or anything of that nature. That's simply how this Earth exists. It represents a vibratory lock of frequency. So here's the third density Earth, and again, it's quite solid. Of course, here's the fourth density Earth, and it's a lot lighter. Okay, so for people to move up to this level, you got to be pretty close up to around this area, which is close around the 50% margin, right? Relating to the idea of your own self-practice. As the law of one would talk about, service to self, service to others ratio, right? So once you kind of move up a little bit past the 50% ratio, then you're good, you're golden. You're good to go here and move up to fourth density Earth. So again, this is about the halfway line between the third and the fourth density. And those that are able to pick themselves up past this little graph, right, will again move into that way. So again, if you guys are familiar with the law of one, you're aware of this, right? You're aware about this particular type of percentage. So we could say the 50% line. And that is very accurate, okay? Even in the law of one, it states that when people go to fourth density harvest, they'll be leaving the third density bodies behind. I was actually discovering that just recently as well. So, oh yeah, okay, interesting. So they'll be leaving their third density bodies behind. As I say in the law of one, that person's body will die, and then they will move into fourth density that are vibratory, completely in love vibration to move up into the next Earth. So there are souls right now that are in a waiting queue, you could say, waiting to incarnate into the fourth density Earth. The doors aren't open yet. They're not open for human sentient life. The fourth density doors are closed. This is why Adronis has referred to like a screen door closing behind you, and you're kind of in like a waiting area. You're just kind of letting the transition happen from third density, and you're kind of going like through a tunnel. Okay, so we see this tunnel going to the other end, and you're kind of just slowly walking through this tunnel, and you see these images. And these images represent the third density Earth, relating to a lot of events that are taking place right now. And of course, that screen door is closed behind you because you've hit graduation. And now you don't have to go back in, right? If a person really descends themselves a lot further, if they turn from a very loving being all of a sudden to a hateful person, yeah, the screen door will open and they can go back out again, right? That can happen. But it's very unlikely. Once you're on that particular level of momentum, it's unlikely that you're going to fall, right? Because there's a really strong sense of maturity that needs to come together when you go past the screen door, right? So this could be like the Rainbow Bridge. We can also call it a rainbow tunnel. But through the Rainbow Bridge or the Rainbow Tunnel, you're just seeing these images. You're just seeing these perspectives. You're looking at these prisms. And say, oh, okay, here's President Trump. Oh, okay, here's political stuff. Oh, okay, here's money situation. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? And we keep walking, and we keep walking, and we keep walking. That's it. So when you see these collective events that really have nothing to do with you, okay, it's like watching a TV. You just grab the remote, you turn it off, and you keep walking, right? Do not concern about what you feel is happening to the collective nature of third density Earth. It's not important for you to look at. You're looking at it again just as an observer. All these flashes of images, all these television screens, just letting you know about what's happening. That is eventually going to transition. You're eventually just going to come into a transition where the tunnel will end. And now, boom, into fourth density Earth. Like I said, when you're looking at here, this is the end of an era. 2038 is the start of a new era. Will there still be the idea of dates and years that will put upon fourth density Earth? Absolutely, right? So you will operate within this fourth density body. Again, you'll be very, very psychic. And what will people be like? Like, what will they do in the fourth density Earth? It's like the Star Trek future, right? People are going to better themselves. They're going to work together. Their most exciting thing is talking about how they're going to help people today, how they can contribute, how they can work together with others, how they form communities, how they're working with the earth, how they're taking care of the animals, how they're taking care of the earth, how they're taking care of the air, the water. Everything relating to these very innovative thinkers are really going to be the way of life on fourth density Earth. You're not concerning about money anymore. And money will basically be gone, or at best, it will transition still. Okay, so I would say it would be gone, or again at best transitioning off the fourth density Earth, because people still need to get off the idea that money controls everything, right? That will not be a factor relating to fourth density Earth. So like I said, at best a transitional period to get off that particular form of currency and system altogether. But it will certainly be a transitional process. We are still going to experience some states of time, right? But like I said, it's going to be a lot more flexible. It's going to be like this wavy line here and not just a straight line. But you're still going to be experiencing some collective sequences of events that again are kind of like more vivid time, the best way I could put it. Again, or sideways in time. So yeah, that will be very much like how fourth density will act. It's very much like going up into these spiritual communities after you transition. You see these spiritual communities and they're very utopian. They're very much working together. There's nothing in regards to finances. There's nothing in regards to personal gain. Everybody starts to contribute and work together with each other. That is the important understanding relating to fourth density Earth. You are stepping up your compassion. You are stepping up your work together with other people. You are harmonizing. You are seeing how you can do tasks that benefit the whole. It's not so selfish, right? It's kind of like what the Law of One has talked about relating to a very quote-unquote negative self-service path. And those particular beings will go more into the lower astral planes. Okay, as I've talked about before, pertaining to the soul rebellions. And those that are basically quote-unquote 5% or less relating to the service to self are, you could say that they're basically soul rebels, right? They're basically in the soul rebellions. They would be much more on the level of demons or parasitic beings in that particular way. So this is giving us a bit of an overview, just an idea, as it relates to the fourth density Earth and the fourth density body. As I said, very, very psychic. We'll still be eating. We'll still have a physical body, right? There's still the idea of taking care of your body, but it's not going to require as much dense caretaking as it is on this planet, which means that your own thoughts can transform your body really quickly, right? If you want to, you don't really muscle yourself up in that way. You're actually putting a lot of thought intention behind your work, and before you know it, you're getting a body that very, very quickly transforms into that energy, right? So this would be, at best, something that could be instant or something that would have a short delay relating to, buffing up your body in that particular way. But again, much more crystalline, much more silica content contained within the body altogether. We'll be able to speak with apparitions. We'll be able to speak with dimensional beings. You'll be able to speak with angels. You'll be very much in communication, way more with the spirit world. You'll understand the nature of the soul. Okay, you'll start to get to know your soul a lot more. You'll feel a much more intimate connection to God. Beautiful, right? It's just absolutely beautiful. Like I said, you'll look at this earth and you'll feel like you're in fairyland. You'll feel like you're in the land of the Fae, because that's really what this earth will be like. It'll be lush, it'll be beautiful, it'll be gorgeous. It won't be ripped apart like this earth. It won't be raped like how this earth has been raped for many thousands of years. It's a pure earth. So again, we're going to see that transition effect of an old earth fading away for those of us that are upon this bridge, in this tunnel, and we're going to come out and we're going to see a whole new earth being born. It's beautiful. I still can't even really describe it to you. Adronis can't really describe it to you as well, because there's so much that happens in the fourth density earth. There's no words for it, right? We simply don't have a way to articulate what the fourth density earth is going to be like. What we can say is that it's going to be beautiful. Human lifespans will basically triple. Okay, so if we were to say, for example, that our average lifespan, in the greatest way, maybe 120 years. Okay, you multiply that by 3. Now you have maybe about 360, maybe even 400 years of lifespan that comes together, right? It's really incredible, and some people can leave early if they want. They can just leave their body behind, and there won't be any agony for you to leave your body. This is another great thing. You can astral travel at will. You won't even be concerned. about having to take your physical body anywhere else. It'll be very, very natural for you to open a door and your friend's here and you're seeing their astral body. Oh, Joe, where are you? Oh, I'm just back at home. I'm about 20 miles away. I thought I'd just astral project into your door and say, hey, how's it going? Hey, cool, man. Want a beer? Oh, wait, you can't. You have an astral body. Right? So however it works. But that, again, is something that will be available to us because our inner senses are so heightened. We will be able to naturally astral project. You could go from, here I am in Canada. I could just astral project all the way down to Australia like that, just with intention. Put an intention in your mind, put a vision in your mind, intend it for it to happen. Boom. Astral body going right to Australia. You can sit right at your home meditating in stasis, and now you're actually exploring this world through your astral body. You can leave Earth, you can go to Mars, you can go to any of the planets in the star system, you can astral project to the Pleiades, you can talk to people there, you can astral project up into higher dimensions of consciousness, you can go up into the higher planes there. It's so incredible. It won't be so dense like third density Earth, right? So you will be much more vividly aware how to astral project, how to levitate, right? Being able to develop that particular skill as well. How to fly in the air, how to teleport. You'll be able to learn how to do that as well too, right? There will be a lot of assistance. Finally, to wrap up the fourth density body, extraterrestrial contact most definitely will happen very, very quickly, shortly after this time, 2038, okay? So I'd say within the next few years after 2038, there's going to be a lot more extraterrestrial global contact, and humanity will become part of an interstellar alliance. They will be part of a galactic confederation. So we have a lot to look forward to, and I'm only just brushing the surface right now relating to this. So I'm sure we'll talk about this more down the road. Getting a little short on time right now, so I do have to wrap it up. Thank you everybody for watching, and again, we'll do like maybe a part 2 and a part 3 with this down the road as well. So take care, may it be well with you, and may the Creator's essence be with you always. Take care.